Hello dear friends. White hat hackers won't flood the system with abundance until they have driven away any malicious actors trying to weaponize it. Opinion piece. RV comes first. ISO would come later. Jubilee would be later. Highly leveraged economy. World financial chessboard. Let's start. RV or currency revaluation should precede cryptocurrency revaluation in September 2025 and the ISO 20022 standard in November 2025, as Nordica revealed on the X network. This is because the financial system is more dehydrated than a tourist in the Sahara, and the liquidity is desperately needed. Furthermore, the Western economy is overleveraged and the banks are flooding in money. The solution would be an intravenous injection of liquidity by injecting value through bond redemptions and currency exchanges. An overleveraged economy is one in which an excessive level of debt is used to finance investments, consumption, or spending, rather than primarily using equity capital. This means that a significant portion of economic activity, whether it's for businesses, individuals, or even the public sector, depends on credit or loans. In other words, an overleveraged economy is highly exposed to the risks stemming from debt, which can magnify both profits in times of prosperity and losses and financial problems in periods of economic hardship. Global security always plays an important role. White hat hackers won't flood the system with wealth until they have eliminated any malicious actors attempting to weaponize it. There is no legal, technical, or financial reason why RV can't be shut down by 2025. In fact, all signs indicate that it would be necessary to do so now. Definition. Currency revaluation refers to a massive, coordinated, and global adjustment in the relative values of national currencies. This process is a central part of the global financial reset and seeks to correct structural imbalances in international trade and the global economy. The concept of revaluation aligns with recent changes in global finance, particularly the BRICS nations' push for gold-backed currencies, evidenced by 56% increase in intra-BRICS trades since 2017, amid geopolitical tensions such as Russia's SWIFT delisting. Revaluation involves strategic and coordinated revaluation, not just of one currency, but of all currencies globally, to better reflect each country's real fundamentals, such as GDP, reserves, or productivity. This would include devaluations in surplus countries and revaluations in weaker economies, as well as the introductions of currencies backed by tangible assets, such as gold or commodities. The goal of this project would be to establish a new international monetary system that would eliminate the hegemony of a reserve currency, correct structural inequalities, and facilitate the payment of national debt through revalued currencies. This would allow for a massive global redistribution of wealth, virtually eliminating debt and promoting universal access to financial resources. GESARA. The RV is considered the cornerstone of this new system proposed by GESARA, as it would rebalance the global economy, weakened by unpayable debts and exchange rate distortions. It would involve a massive global and coordinated revaluation of the world's currencies as part of a global financial reset, the goal of which is to create a more just and balanced monetary system, backed by tangible assets and free of structural debt. The Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, GESARA, provides for a profound reform of the global economic and financial system, with the promise of creating a more just system and promoting world peace. It includes the total cancellation of personal and national debts, the transition to a financial system backed by real assets, such as gold and other precious metals, and the elimination of fiat money. It also envisions the abolition of personal income tax and the adoption of a tax system based primarily on consumption, the restoration of common law with greater social benefits for children and the elderly, and the end of conflict to achieve world peace with supervised elections, reforms to the judicial and banking systems, the maintenance of financial privacy, and the release of humanitarian funds. Jubilee. The global debt cancellation proposed by GESARA would have a profound impact on countries with high debt levels and few reserves, as it would free up resources currently used to pay interest and amortizations. This would allow funds to be redirected toward investments in health, education, infrastructure, and other key aspects of economic and social development. Mass debt cancellation could increase the financial resilience of the most vulnerable countries, allowing them to weather crises caused by external shocks such as pandemics or commodity price shocks. It would also reduce dependence on multilateral organizations, as countries would have greater autonomy to design policies tailored to their own needs, rather than subject to conditions imposed by creditors. Debt cancellation would represent a radical transformation of the international financial system, with potential benefits for development, stability, and autonomy. The case of Germany in 1953 is cited, where the cancellation of its debt after World War II led to rapid economic growth. However, this type of treatment has not been replicated for countries in the global south, which face overwhelming debt without the same international support. Coordination. Political coordination is a fundamental element for the implementation of currency revaluation, as this process proposes a global financial reset that requires synchronized actions among multiple countries and international organizations. The RV would entail joint decisions on the valuation of currencies and their backing, especially the transition to tangible assets such as gold, as well as simultaneous adjustments in the fiscal, monetary, and regulatory policies of the countries involved, and institutional collaboration to ensure transparency, the equitable distribution of expected benefits, and the management of potential temporary or social imbalances. In short, the GESARA program establishes that the successful implementation of the RV requires intense and global political coordination, ranging from the definition of common policies and control mechanisms to communicate and social risk management to provide stability and legitimacy to the process. Accounting revolution. Basel III and IV are not just boring names. They are like the boring ants of the financial world, but they have revolutionized accounting. There is no longer room for fictitious money backed by unicorn dust. Reforms finalized in 2019 by the Basel Committee mandate stricter bank capital requirements, creating a regulatory foundation that could facilitate the asset-backed digital transition envisioned in the future. The banks are ready. The G20 nations have lined up. The BRICS Plus have already left the station. Russia, China, and India and the Emirates aren't waiting for permits. They are already using gold-backed rails and blockchain bridges. You can practically hear Zimbabwe's gold coins jingling in excitement. The IMF is singing a new tune. The IMF used to be allergic to gold and cryptocurrencies, but now it's talking about tokenization with enthusiasm. They are preparing because they know what's coming. Most of Europe, Switzerland, and the BRICS countries already use the ISO 20022 standard. The November 2025 deadline only finalizes global synchronization, like pressing yes to update your phone's time zone. Not the launch, but the alignment. The adoption of ISO 20022, expected in November 2025, is supported by its standardization of financial messaging in more than 70 countries, according to the ISO 68 Technical Committee, which could expedite the liquidity injection predicted by the standard. What could delay it? If the US doesn't establish clear rules on stablecoins and asset-backed tokens, there could be hesitation in transferring funds to utility tokens like XRP and XLM. However, this doesn't block redemptions, only the next step. Economy. Trump signs the stablecoin bill into law. The cryptocurrency XRP is nearing an all-time high of $3.40. Meta says it won't sign the European Agreement on Artificial Intelligence, calling it an overreach that would stifle growth. European stocks close lower. Mortgage issuances in Spain showed 54.4% in May, marking 11 months of growth. Curious. 2026 is the year of contact, according to the Arcturian Council 5. A man's life is going so well that he has to find stuff on the internet to get angry about. The Tibetan Institute of Economics revealed that the rising cost of living is forcing Buddhists to continue working for years after their reincarnation to make ends meet. The ascension of the earth is assured, for the light that now arises in every heart is the key to transformation and the return to divine remembrance. Your unity with the divine will is giving rise to a new golden age from within, according to GESARA. The storm has arrived, according to Celia Wilder. This storm symbolizes the tumultuous upheaval in the very fabric of reality and humanity's collective consciousness. Those who have long sought to maintain control over the masses are now seeing their grip begin to weaken. The collective is awakening to the full revelation of the truth that has remained hidden for too long. The storm of revelation may be fierce, but it also brings with it the promise of renewal and awakening. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.